Hey, welcome back to the new video. So in this video, let me set the context of it. Yeah, in this video, we are going to see different types of data binding, which is present in Angular. So in the previous video, we had seen MVC architecture. What is MVC architecture in Angular? And apart from that, we had just gone through a basic of data binding where whatever the variable which is present in the .ts file was like transferred or like uh, transition to a view part. So this is how our screen, or before going to the screen, let me show you what we had done. So yeah, this is what we had done. We had created this variable called as name. It was having a value, and from this header.ts file, if I want to show this into header.html file, this is how we were doing. And this part, like and displaying the this part where we display the variable, this is called as interpolation. So in interpolation, we have to do this syntax where we have two curly braces, and we have like the variable enclosed inside this, and this part of enclosing the variable uh, within this syntax in double curly braces is called as interpolation, and it is a one-way data binding. So what is one-way data binding? It depends on a direction. So now this variable is shown, or like this is passed from .ts file of any component to .html file of that particular component. So from component to view, we are like showing this particular variable. So this is called as one-way data binding, and interpolation is one-way data binding, and it's the example of it. So similarly, let's go with other part where we are going to see the property binding, and we are going to see event binding and two-way data binding. So let's start with event binding first. What is that? Because it can be like quickly explained with this example. So here we had taken this on click button function which we had kept on this part in this component file, and as soon as I click on this, we were passing this we were having this action of click. So once I click on that button, this function is called, and this is how we were displaying the console. So we had seen that. Let's quickly recap over it, how it looks, and then we can deep dive into. Okay, let me open the Chrome. Yeah, so let me open the inspect here. So if I, okay, I think I have removed that button. So let me quickly add the button here. Okay, we have it, but we're not seeing it. Let me just add this component into this file. So I have removed the header. I was just trying out some different things, so that's why I had removed that particular header component from this app component file. So now it should look, let me open it. Yep, so now we have this header component imported into the app component, and if I click on this, we can see this button is clicked. So likewise, what is event binding means, here in the previous one we were passing the thing from component to view, but in event binding we'll be passing the action or data from view to this component. So here we can pass that event, right? So as soon as we click on it, we can add here this thing. How to pass that event binding is like adding this particular parameter which is a dollar and then writing it with event. So this is the event that we are passing from the view, and here we need to capture it as a parameter as well. So here it is called as event, and the type would be any. We need to mention the type because it's a TypeScript. And here now we are passing this particular event right from the view to the component, and let's capture the event here as well. So let me just put event here. Okay, let's quickly display it on our part, how it looks. Okay, so if I click on this, so if you see whatever the event that we had done, right? So we had passed that entire event object to the component, which means .ts file, and here we can see all of this thing. So this part of passing the data from view to component is called as event binding in Angular, and this is also a one-way data type because here also we are passing data from view to component, and likewise the way we do in uh, JavaScript, right, where we can get the value of it. So I can just put event dot target to just pick that particular target which I have clicked. So this is how I will be able to see the target as well. So as I have clicked on this button, I can see this particular thing, which is button. Let's see the next type of binding in Angular, which is property binding. So before that, let's see quickly what is property in HTML, right? So this is a button where we have this particular click action. We have this label, and if I want to make this button disabled in a plain HTML way, we can put this property which is disabled, and if I put this, then if you see, this button would be disabled, right? So if I want to remove this, I can remove that disabled property, and you can see this click me is now enabled. This button is enabled. So this property, right, this property value, if I want to control, or I want to bind a certain value, right? Let's suppose we have a disabled over here, and I want to, maybe using a variable, if I want to make it true or false, right, in Angular. So that part is called as a property binding. So basically we are binding a particular value to a property. So that's why it's called as a property binding. So how to do that in Angular is, let's suppose here in our header dot ts, we have a variable, or like, yeah, variable which is called as is disabled, and we are making it initially true, right? So how I can pass this particular true value or this variable to this? So the syntax for that is, we need to include this property, whatever the property of it is, into this square brackets, and after that I can put that value which I have created here, which is disabled. So if I put it here now in this way, you can see we have bind this particular variable which is a value, which is having a value as true, to this property. So this is called as a property binding. So now if you see in our code, we can see this particular thing is now disabled. If I want to make it as a disabled false, then I can just quickly change here the value. I can make it false, and here you can see this particular thing is disabled. So now using these variables which we have displayed or mentioned in this component file, which is called as .ts file, we are passing this particular variable into our view part, and here we can control a property of any element. So it doesn't mean that we can control only the display property or different. There are multiple properties, right? So if you see in input text box, right, if I just add here input, where we have this type, we have this name, and likewise we can have this class as well, right? So all these are the properties of particular element, and here we can set the values to this property. So if we want to set any property for a particular element, then this is the way we can do it in Angular, where we need to enclose that property into square bracket, and then the similar way we did it, we pass that variable directly, whatever the variable which is mentioned. So this is also a one-way data binding, because here also we are passing that variable from component file to the .html file. So yeah, this is all about the property binding.